moment they stepped inside, a tremendous voice echoed across the room.
Hey! Where the hell did you guys go?
It was Seven.
Seven?
Ace was right behind him, and Clover was behind Ace, although she seemed to be hanging back.
What's wrong?
It looked as though there was something strange about them. Seven had the look of a man who'd seen a ghost. Ace was just as pale, and Clover looked as though she was only moments from passing out entirely. For a long moment, they simply stood there, looking at one another. Junpei looked around nervously, waiting for someone else to speak. No one did. He looked at Seven.
What happened?
What the hell kind of question is that?
Seven was trying very hard to be angry, but something had shaken him hard. His shoulders were trembling, and his voice was strained.
Snake is...
Seven couldn't finish. He just looked away, his face twisted by... Junpei wasn't sure what. Instead, Ace spoke. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and spoke.
Snake is dead. He died, just as the 9th man did.
Shit. It was as if all the air had suddenly been sucked out of the room.
Oh, mamma mia.
Junpei felt his heartbeat quicken, and he realized he was having trouble breathing. He could feel cold sweat beading on his forehead and neck. June, Santa, and Lotus looked the way he felt. All three were frozen in place, their faces white.
Oh my god, that's not true, is it? We should make sure.
Yeah, right. We should.
They nodded to one another and headed for the number 3 door.
Wait! Not that way.
What? Why not?
Oops. They stopped short and turned to look at Seven. He was pointing at the door with no number.
I stuck a screwdriver in there to keep the door from closing all the way. It's not locked, so you can go in that way.
Where is he?
The shower room. Left side of the hallway. I put a broom in there too to keep the door open.
That means we can get in without going through the numbered door, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Then let's go.
That's very smart of him, honestly.
Yeah. Their new destination clear, Junpei and his companions headed for the door with no number. Once in the hallway, it was easy to spot the metal door on the left wall.
This wasn't open when we passed here before.
But now, just as Seven had said, there was a broom stuck between the door and the frame, keeping it open.
Well, let's keep going.
They looked at it for a moment, then stepped inside.
Oh, it smells horrible.
Lotus wrinkled her nose and covered her mouth in disgust. Even Santa pinched his nose shut.
Oh, yeah, this is pretty awful. I feel like I'm gonna puke.
It was just as bad as they had said, perhaps worse. A hideous smell filled the air, so thick they could almost taste it. It was sour and smelled of fish, feces, and burnt meat. It worked its way through Junpei's nose and down his throat to pound against the entrance to his stomach. He put his hands over his mouth and struggled to keep what little was in his stomach where it belonged.
Where is he? Where's Snake?
They didn't have to wonder where the body was.
There.
There was blood everywhere, a few arms of the splatter reaching toward them as they walked through the door. All one had to do was follow the many radial arms to their source. The body itself was hidden behind a divider.
June, you should stay here.
But
Please, just do me a favor, okay? Alright?
He didn't give her a chance to say no. He put his hand on her shoulder, as if to shove her into the ground like a tent pole, turned, and walked toward the end of the divider.
I'm going in.
It felt like it took an eternity for him to get there. Santa and Lotus followed, timid and nervous as a pair of children. Eventually, they reached the divider. They looked at one another and nodded slowly. Junpei put his hands on the divider and peered around the corner. For a moment, he forgot to breathe. He felt his heart collapse in his chest like an empty cigarette carton, and time froze. He knew in that instant that he would take the image before him to the grave. What was left of the body sat in a sea of blood. Chunks of flesh, torn from the body, sat in the blood like tiny islands in a great red sea. A vast, ragged hole had been torn in the torso, and what remained of his intestines spilled out of it like fresh spaghetti. Smaller chunks of meat had splattered against the wall and become stuck there as they dried. Globules of yellowish fat had left trails like tiny slugs as gravity pulled them down the wall, even as they dried to it. Ugh. Ugh.
Just like Ace said.
Santa's voice was strained. Junpei suspected he was holding down some vomit of his own.
Just like the ninth man. The detonator in his bracelet set off the bomb in his gut.
It looked as though the explosion had been quite powerful.
Oh god. The bone is coming out of his left arm.
It's definitely an open fracture.
His legs were both bent in an odd, unnatural way, and his left arm had split open, exposing the painfully white bone of his ulna. His bracelet lay next to him. It seemed to have hit the wall hard enough to have shattered the display, which lay on the ground in pieces.
Oh, the face. It's horrible.
Yeah, you can't even tell who it is.
Half of his head had simply collapsed. The blood coating almost made it look like raw pizza dough covered in tomato sauce.
Great.
His clothes, too, were covered in blood. The burgundy tie, the white shirt, the jacket with the yellow piping, and the gray slacks.
But the clothes are...
They were all familiar to Junpei.
No mistake about it. It's Snake.
Lotus's voice was unnaturally deep and strained, and Junpei heard it catch in her throat.
They mentioned Italian food twice.
I think he's hungry.
Did. The squeal of tortured metal made Junpei's teeth curl. It sounded like the noise a ghost would make. No matter how many times he heard it, he never got used to it. Every time, it put him on edge. It didn't help that there was a girl nearby who looked far more like a ghost than a living human should. It was Clover. She sat on the edge of the bed, her head drooping listlessly onto her chest. Her eyes were blank and stared across the room at nothing. Her breathing was slow and mechanical. Aside from the rise and fall of her chest, she didn't move. Junpei felt as if even a nudge might cause her to shatter into 1,000 pieces.
Snake was probably murdered. Chances are he was killed the same way the ninth man was.
Seven lowered his voice, likely in an effort to keep Clover from hearing what he had to say. There were 4 other people in the room with Junpei and Seven: Ace, Santa, June, and Lotus. Seven looked at each one of them in turn and continued.
It's pretty straightforward. Not that hard to figure out how they did it. First, the killers got Snake to authenticate on the red to open door 3. Then they shoved him into it, alone, and waited 9 seconds for the door to shut. Once that door shut, it was all over for Snake. But he didn't give up. He probably knew it wouldn't do him any good, but he probably ran into the shower room looking for the dead. It was a small chance, but it wasn't like he had anything to lose. Unfortunately, it didn't work. The detonator is only deactivated if everybody who authenticated when they went in uses the dead. Snake was the only one who went through the door, and then 81 seconds after he was shoved in, that happened.
I see. So that's what you meant by killers, huh? You need at least 3 people to open one of the numbered doors, including Snake. It wouldn't open for Snake and a single killer.
Yeah. That means we're looking at multiple perps here.
Junpei crossed his arms and grunted.
Well, just in case, I want to make sure. Let's say you're right. When do you think Snake was killed?
When we all split up to look for the parts for the Reds, I think. Right after that was when we noticed he was gone.
Then that means none of us have alibis. We were all off searching the rooms we'd been assigned, looking for those parts.
Yeah. That means anybody could be a killer.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about?
June seemed shocked.
How can you say that so casually? You're implying that one of us is a killer.
Well, not just one of us. If I'm right, then at least 2 of us are murderers.
Why don't you calm down a bit, Seven? What are you going to gain by being so suspicious? That's what Zero wants, you know?
What Zero wants?
Exactly. This game was set up by Zero, wasn't it? Any game has a winner and loser. Whoever makes it through door 9 is a winner, and those who don't are the losers. Zero is trying to make us fight against one another for that victory.
Then you're saying that Zero is trying to split us up by making us fight each other?
Yes. That is why we can't let ourselves fall prey to suspicion. We have to trust one another and form a strong bond of friendship.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Otherwise, we'll end up ensnared by Zero's manipulations.
Then does that mean that the person who killed Snake...
Yes. Almost certainly Zero himself. If there's anyone we should doubt, it should be Zero. He masterminded this game and kidnapped all of us. Doesn't it seem reasonable that he would have killed Snake as well?
Good question.
Junpei hadn't really considered that.
If Zero killed Snake, then Zero is on the ship with us.
Junpei. Is Zero still on the ship with them? I think we're gonna say not sure. Junpei wasn't sure. He wasn't sure.
Something's still strange.
What was that?
Well, I'm just wondering about one thing.
And what's that?
How can you be so sure that Zero's on this ship?
Ace's eyebrows shot up.
Really, Junpei? I confess I'm a little disappointed. Usually you're rather sharp.
No, he
Isn't it obvious?
No, it's not!
No, he's really not.
He's really not.
Wait, it is?
To be fair, Ace hasn't been in an escape room with him yet.
Yeah. Even then, though, like, you know, he just doesn't really have the vibe. And you take one look at him and you're like, no, that guy doesn't look too smart.
This
I mean, look,
ship.
he's wearing like 3 different layers.
This guy looks like he's 2 steps away from being in a frat house.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Zero said, "this ship," several times when he addressed us.
Ace, have you ever heard of a red herring?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a metaphor?
Have you ever heard of the Ship of Theseus?
Oh, we'll get to
Not
that.
time for that yet.
If he weren't here, he wouldn't say this ship, would he?
But
Yes, he would.
yes, he
That's
would. That's how
something.
grammar works.
This is such a nothing burger.
He's talking about
It's a nothing
this
burger.
specific ship. So
Yeah.
He'd be saying something like, that ship, or the ship.
but we don't care about other ships. So
Yeah.
The only
I guess
ship
that
we
makes
care
sense.
about are relationships.
Ace's explanation made perfect sense. Junpei felt
No,
a
it
little
didn't.
foolish that he hadn't seen it himself.
It's not. It doesn't make that much sense. It's not that obvious, and it could
It's
mean
like,
several
okay,
different
I get his point, but it's like, it's such a small thing that I wouldn't hinge an entire argument on it.
Yeah.
He makes a point, and if Zero had not meticulously planned this and probably wrote out the script that he said,
Yeah.
like, nah.
Still, he was left with a question, and it was one of no small importance.
If Zero's on the ship, where is he?
Suddenly, everyone went very quiet. The silence was cold and clammy, and Junpei could feel it crawling across his back and around his throat. Again, he heard the ghosting, moaning noise.
Sans is coming for you. Your sins are crawling up your back.
And moments later, a person who looked more ghost than human appeared. It was Clover. She looked at the floor as she spoke, and her voice was a cold monotone.
I think Zero is one of us.
That sound effect was just really funny. Just... Every human body in the room froze. The only sound was the muffled rustling of breath. Eyes darted from face to face. One of those faces was the face of their jailer. But who? Was he one of them? Well, it's possible.
Well, that's possible.
Huh?
Like Clover said, Zero might be one of us.
What are you saying, Jumpy? Didn't you hear what Ace said?
Exactly. I said we shouldn't suspect one another for no reason.
No reason. I've got a great reason.
And what's that?
The bracelets.
He held out his left arm.
Why are the bombs in our bodies connected to the bracelets? You're all thinking Zero's hiding somewhere watching us, right? If he's doing that, then he could just detonate the bombs by remote control if someone did something they weren't supposed to. It would be a lot more precise and a lot easier. But if that's the case, then why is the bomb set off by the detonator in the bracelet?
Huh. You got a point.
I'm not done. Try applying the same ideas to the nonary game.
I mean, that's not a thought process I would have followed, but... You made a connection. Good for you, Junpei.
I would have followed the process of the Reds. They had things missing from them. Somebody had to put them back.
All of the puzzles here run all by themselves. In other words, Zero doesn't have to be controlling them for the game to move forward. Why's that? Why would Zero bother to do something like that?
Yeah, this is more along the lines of what I was thinking. Junpei let the question hang in the air and looked at the others. It was Santa who answered.
So let's say you and Clover are right. Zero's one of us. If that's the case, then it'd be really hard for him to keep track of all of us or control anything remotely. That's why all the puzzles run by themselves. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Junpei nodded.
Seven, when we were talking earlier, you said any one of us could be Snake's killer, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Alright then. I've got a question for you, Ace. You said something like Zero must be the one who killed Snake, right?
Yes, something like that. I can't think of any other explanation.
Then combine your two arguments.
So what do we get if we combine those? They fit together pretty well, I think. Something like this.
With the powers combined, our theory
Whoever killed
becomes...
Snake is Zero. Hence, Zero is one of us. Seven and Ace's theories aren't mutually exclusive. They actually complement each other pretty well. At least they do if Zero is one of us.
No one spoke. Their faces were grim, but Junpei wasn't sure if they believed him or not. Finally, Lotus spoke up.
What were his motives?
His motives?
Yes, isn't that pretty important? Why would Zero want to hide as one of us?
Oh, well, that's because...
Junpei choked. He hadn't thought of that, and he had to be honest with himself. He had no idea.
I don't know.
Lotus sighed.
Oh, so much for making a persuasive argument, Junpei.
In other words, you only had circumstantial evidence.
I don't really think that's.
Well, so did you.
No.
Yeah. Nobody here has the hard evidence of anything.
No one here has anything.
We're all just guessing. Junpei was painfully aware of their eyes on him and their disapproval. He tried to find something else, anything else, to look at. Then, in that horrible silence, they heard a bell begin to ring. It was the clock at the central staircase.
It's 3 in the morning.
That means we have 3 hours left.
Then
Oh
we
my
need to move
god,
now.
you guys. How much time have they wasted just arguing?
Really.
Clover, Junpei, I
The
know how
real
you feel,
escape room
but you do
experience, though.
understand that right now, it's important we trust one another, don't you?
You're right, but
Junpei couldn't bring himself to respond. He swallowed the words he wanted to say and sighed. Seven and Clover remained similarly silent. Their eyes were looking at something somewhere else, very far away.
We must go. We have very little time left.
Ace's words put their feet to moving. They all knew where they were going.
our next destination is Mercury.
Or maybe you and June should check it out first and then report back to us.
All right, let's go, June.
Right.
We're going
Everybody
on a
just-
trip in our favorite rocket ship.
Everybody just keeps trying to push them together.
It sat, bolted to the wall near the stairs that led to the casino and the kitchen and between the two elevators.
The Mercury card reader.
We're using the card 7 gave us, right?
Yeah,
I found it when we were checking out the shower room.
I think Seven said something like that. Anyway, let's see what happens.
I'd like to think Junpei making a 7 impression.
Junpei slid the card through the reader. The light on the reader turned green and made a tiny electronic noise.
I guess the elevator works now.
Jumpy, I know it's only the two of us, but let's do our best.
What's with you all of a sudden?
Well, I'm happy we were put together.
You know it's just for searching E-Deck, right?
Even so, I'm glad I'm with you.
Oh. First, we need to find out if the elevator comes up full of water.
Just like we did before.
Oh, here it is.
I knew it. It's not wet at all.
Let's go.
Yes.
Once it had been checked for water, Junpei and June stepped into the elevator.
Look! Nearly all of the buttons are destroyed.
Yeah, only the seat and bottom button can be pushed.
We're on C deck right now, so the only one we can choose is bottom.
Yeah. Well, let's try it out.
Yeah, Junpei, let's try it out.
Yeah! Junpei hit the bottom button.
But you are.
Yeah, this is why June was saying that it goes into the men all the time.
Yeah!
She knows what you are, sir.
Yeah.
The door closed. Slowly, they began to move downward.
Oh, so this is the bottom deck.
They stepped off and saw that the hallway to their right ended somewhere between 20 and 25 feet from them.
It's your homeland, Junpei.
The hallway in front of them was a dead end. But not a regular dead end.
Over there.
This is a numbered door.
This is the 8th one we found. There were 2 numbered doors on B deck near the central staircase. They were doors 4 and 5. 3 more in the large hospital room, doors 3, 7, and 8.
And the door we found on E deck, and the door Lotus and Santa found on A deck. It was a 6 on the door on E deck, and a 1 on the door on A deck.
4, 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 1. And now
hate that.
door 2 stood in front of Junpei.
That means
Oh, I hate how it's not in order.
Do you think the next door we find?
yeah, I think so. The next one's gonna be door 9.
Despite himself, Junpei felt excited. There was something about that excitement that frightened him as well.
Finally!
Yeah,
You don't look very happy about it, though.
it's not that. I just hope nothing goes wrong.
You're right. We should keep our fingers crossed.
Let's head back.
Okay.
He did his best to put it from his mind and headed back to C deck with June.
1, 2, 3, 4. All right, 7 pieces.
The pieces of paper they'd folded up lay on the ground next to Junpei's legs. Everyone had written on paper pulled from Junpei's notebook in an effort to pull together a blind vote.
Just double checking, but everyone wrote their code name and a door number they want, right?
Yes, just like you told us earlier.
Can't believe we're voting here.
Why had they decided to vote that way?
We need to make the whole thing fair, blah-de-blah. This is a complicated plan, you know. Hurry it up, Mr.
Blah-de-blah.
I have a brilliant idea.
They decided it wasn't fair to simply ask everyone at once. That would allow people to force others to go through certain doors.
Yeah, quiet in the peanut gallery.
And he had a plan. It wasn't a plan he wanted anyone catching wind of, however, so he did his best to act calm as he began to open and read the pieces of paper.
All right, let's open these up. The first one says, Ace requests door 1.
Yes, I do. Would you like me to explain why?
No, we don't have time for that. Sorry. Let's keep going.
He opened the second one.
Next is Santa. He wants door 6.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Junpei continued with the third, fourth, and fifth pieces of paper.
Clover wants 1, Lotus wants 2, and 7 also wants 2.
Wait a minute. There is no way I'm going anywhere with the Elephant Man.
No, there'd be
Damn.
no point to the voting if we let people change their choices because of stuff like that.
But
Just give it up, Lotus. It's not like I want to hang out with some exhibitionist grandma.
Oh,
I'm not
Damn.
an exhibitionist. I'm wearing clothes.
Barely.
Barely.
So, last I checked, that's not a crime.
Maybe. But what about common decency? Nobody wants to have to look at a
Okay,
chick who
Kevin.
looks like a half-naked raisin.
Oh, I'm gonna kill you!
Get his ass.
deserved. What is that?
Lotus's hair flared out like the
Oh,
mane
not
of an
good.
angry lion, and she roared with a voice that shook the walls.
Let go! Let go of me! I'm killing him!
With some difficulty, Ace managed to restrain her.
Junpei, read the rest.
Right.
Junpei tore his eyes away and looked down at the sixth piece of paper. He opened it.
June wants door 6.
Yes. I don't really have a reason. I just felt like it.
All of the papers, save Junpei's, had been read. He did some quick calculations in his head.
So this was everyone's vote. Ace and Clover requested door 1.
This was the door on A deck near the central staircase.
7 and Lotus requested door 2.
This was the door on the bottom deck and could be reached by taking the elevator to the bottom of the ship.
Santa and June requested door 6.
This was the door on E deck and could be reached by taking the elevator near the central staircase down.
Then the
Okay,
door
wait
I
for a
should
second.
choose is-
So Ace and Clover, that's 1 and 4,
Yeah.
which would come to 5.
Yes.
So they need an additional person. 7 and Lotus would be 7 and 8 would be. Math is not my strong suit. 15, which would become 6. So they would also need somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then Santa and June would be 3 and 6, which would become 9. So they would also need somebody else. Junpei is 5?
Yeah, Junpei is 5.
Yeah. So
So I think he's the missing number they all need.
7 Lotus would be 15. So plus Junpei would be 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is, actually. Oh, that's funky.
It took him less than a second to run the numbers. He opened the 7th piece of paper and spoke.
Okay, the last one is mine.
Well, he's very good at mental math, apparently.
I'm not.
Go through.
And you get to pick.
Obviously, we're going door 6.
I want to go through door 6.
Junpei flipped open the piece of paper. It read, Junpei, door 6. Of course it did. He'd written it after all.
That's a problem.
June spoke barely above a whisper, but they all knew what she'd said.
None of these teams will be able to go through the doors they want.
Clover and I chose door 1.
Lotus and I chose door 2.
That's not enough people to open a numbered door, however.
The digital routes don't match up either.
Yeah.
We've got similar problems. Junpei and I want to go through door 6, but our digital route is 5. If we're gonna open that door,
I
we
didn't
need a
even do the
1.
math.
Damn, what are we gonna do now?
What are we going to do?
What door did we go in for the second one? We went through 8, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because we followed Lotus.
Okay.
Junpei crossed his
Sorry,
arms
I'm
and did his
doing
best to put his
brain.
thoughts in order. The others followed suit, but with little result. Eventually, Clover broke the silence.
Why don't 7 and Lotus go through door 1? With me.
Her face was cold and flat, as was her voice, but her logic was sound. 7 and Lotus looked at each other. 7 plus 8 plus 4 equals 19, 1 plus 9 equals 10, 1 plus 0 equals 1. The first problem resolved, Ace spoke up.
What about me?
Isn't that obvious?
You come with us. We need one more.
Wasn't one of the teams just complaining that they didn't have a 1?
You mean I should join Santa's team?
Yes.
Clover nodded, her face still cold and emotionless. Her attitude and posture could not have been more different than the energetic girl of only a few hours before. No one seemed ready to contradict her. Her response was understandable, given the horrible situation in which she had found herself, but even so...
I understand. I'll go through door 6 then. If we do as Clover has suggested, we can all pass through a numbered door and no one will be left behind. This seems to be the most reasonable solution.
3 plus 6 plus 5 plus 1 equals 15, 1 plus 15 equals
7.
6.
Lotus, what do you guys think?
I don't have a problem with it.
Me either.
Alright then, we're good to go.
See you later.
Wait, Clover! Don't move on your own!
Oh, I'll be going too then.
Yeah.
Alright,
careful.
Clover, make sure those two don't kill each other.
We should
luck.
get going as well.
At last, Junpei and the other 6 had managed to separate themselves into 2 teams. Clover, 7, and Lotus headed to A deck, where door 1 was near the main staircase. Junpei, June, Ace, and Santa, however, took the elevator to E deck. The ride to E deck was a silent one.
This is E-Deck.
There should be a door at the end of the hall.
Alright, let's go.
Santa's words jolted them to action, and they stepped out of the elevator into a long, straight hallway. Before long, they arrived in front of door 6.
Here it is. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Then let's get to it.
One by one, they put their palms over the red. With a soft electronic noise, it authenticated each of them. The door opened, and all at once, the 4 of them leapt through it. I can read.
Hey! I found it! It's right there!
Fortunately, the dead was located easily enough. This one had been placed quite close to the door they'd entered through. They gathered around it quickly and hurriedly placed their palms on it for authentication one by one.
It stopped.
Yes, it stopped.
The countdown had ceased, but Junpei's heart was still pounding in his chest like a frantic, thunderous drum. It felt as though it might shake itself up and out of his throat.
Whew. I don't believe I'll ever get used to that.
I'm not sure it's something I'd want to get used to. We should finish this game before imminent death becomes a normal thing.
You got that right. Once I'm out of this hellhole, I'm taking a nice long vacation.
I agree.
With that, the doom and gloom from before was done and the mood turned somewhat lighter.
All right, let's go.
With that attempt at good humor, Junpei took a deep breath and began to walk. He jogged down the stairs at the end of the hallway and found himself staring at a large door.
This door looks heavy.
But it's not locked. I'm opening it.
He took hold of the bar that served as its doorknob and shoved it down. The room beyond stopped him in his tracks. It was gargantuan and made entirely of metal. None of the accents of wood or tile he'd seen in the rest of the ship. This room was purely functional, but utterly tremendous.
Whoa, what the hell is this?
Santa got out a few words before awe stole the rest of them. The rest were too stunned to offer anything more than gasps.
This has to be the biggest room so far. The ceiling is pretty high, too.
Huh. Could be 2 stories, maybe even more.
This space could be utilizing the entire length of the ship.
What's that huge Kamaboko-looking building in the middle?
June pointed to the massive building in the center.
Kamaboko? Well, I guess that's as good of a description of it as any.
Junpei and the others were standing on scaffolding that crisscrossed the whole area. The proper term was catwalk, Junpei thought, although that didn't seem particularly important.
I see stairs, so we may as well head over to them.
Yeah, but this section's barely wide enough to fit one person.
You're right.
Nearby was a long iron staircase that made its way, eventually, to the floor beneath them.
Whoa, you can't even tell the shape when you're this close.
Let's check out the other side, too.
They moved around toward the opposite side of the massive building, following the catwalk. They hadn't said much as they walked, but as they approached the building, Ace suddenly spoke up.
This looks to be the steam engine room.
The steam engine room?
Yes, that thing that looks like a cross-section of a mushroom is the boiler. You see the 3 round doors near the bottom? Coal is put into those and burned, which heats the water, producing steam. The same thing that drives a steam engine. This one is simply somewhat larger.
I see.
It doesn't appear to be running right now.
The entire room was as silent as the grave.
All right, let's split up.
Then, all of a sudden, Junpei heard a noise behind him. He turned just in time to see June collapse to her knees.
Hey, what's wrong? Are you all right?
He dashed toward her and wrapped his arm around her shoulders to steady her.
Hey, June.
It was then that he noticed.
Jumpy.
You... Oh, you're really warm. Is your fever coming back?
Yes. Yes. It probably is. But I'm fine. Please, don't worry about me.
You almost passed out.
I just need to
She's
rest.
fine.
And I'll be
Just give her
fine.
some Soporel, she'll sleep.
Her voice was weak and forced, and it said a great deal more than her words did.
Okay, here, sit down. Careful.
Junpei carried her to the nearest wall and propped her up against it. She let her head fall back against the wall, as if she no longer had the strength to support it, and drew a ragged breath.
Thank you.
Her eyes were empty, as if she was having trouble focusing them, and even speaking seemed difficult for her. Junpei felt his hand ball itself into a fist and clenched tight, his knuckles whitening. He had to find a way out, and quickly. He turned and looked at Ace and Santa in turn.
Ace, Santa.
Yes.
Right.
They might not have shared the depth of his emotion, but they certainly shared his concern.
All right, let's get started. Hang in there, June. I'm gonna get you out of here real soon.
She managed a small nod before leaning back to rest her head on the wall.
There we go.
Okay. I'd say this is probably here to move coal from place to place. It probably comes from over there. And then the belt carries it down the tunnel and out here. So if the conveyor belt was moving, yes, the coal would almost certainly come out here. Okay. It's a square hole. Those are rectangular. Nothing in here. Oh, just this in general. Okay. I thought he was talking about the... look at the back wall there. I can see 3 small slots. Terminals for some sort of connector, perhaps? You mean you think we're supposed to plug something in here? Perhaps. Perchance. That button. It's glowing orange, right? That's gotta mean something. I guess pressing it is the best way to find out if it does anything, Santa. Nothing. Okay. Anything else around here? This pillar goes up toward the ceiling.
What does this button do?
That's where the coal goes. I believe this opening is for fueling the furnace. If we were to put some coal in here and ignite it, then the steam engine might start working. It's certainly possible. There are a number of these little windows along the inside of this thing. I think you're supposed to put coal in through these, but they're welded shut. I don't think we can get these open. Man, this thing is huge. I guess a ship this big needs something like that to power it. True, but I doubt a single boiler of this size could actually move a ship like this at any reasonable speed. You'd need at least 3, no, 4 of these. Huh, I guess you know a lot about boats, huh? Well, not really. It's just common sense, you know? Stairs stretch from the catwalk to the boiler. This is the huge oven for this boiler. There are 3 open areas in it. Each of the open areas has a gear in it.
Ace does kind of give the vibe of one of those dads who knows a lot about, like, one particular vehicle.
Yeah. A huge bronze gear. This has to be important. This gear is rusty, but it looks like it's still pretty sturdy. There's a small door in the side of this tunnel. It's welded shut and won't open.
It's welded shut. It has the same... Sorry, I keep making references. It has the same, like, when you're in Silent Hill and you find a door that's wedged shut, you can't open it. And you're never going to be able to open that door.
Oh, by the way, they mentioned kamaboko earlier. That's a kind of fish cake. Usually it's pink and white, and they cut it into pieces for like udon and stuff.
Ah.
Yeah. If you've ever played Splatoon 2, the Octo expansion, there is a company that is called Kamabo Co. Because it's a fish pun.
The slider is down. Well, let's see if I can get this thing to go anywhere. And no dice. This thing isn't going anywhere. Okay, well, what about this one? Looks like Santa wants to give this one a shot. Damn it. Nothing. This thing won't budge. This slider is down. I guess Ace feels like giving it a try. Nothing. It won't move at all. The 3 sliders on the left are down, but this one is up. There are a number of lines engraved in these. I suspect that we are meant to do something rather specific with them. Junpei, why don't you move that slider down? Well, there's no harm in trying, I suppose. Nothing. Nothing happened. Maybe it needs to be prepared somehow. You're saying if we did something somewhere else, it'd respond somehow? Yes, I suppose that's one way of putting it. These 2 columns are different from the others. The lights are red, indeed. One of the doors on the furnace. There's an A on it. There's a circular wheel in the center of the door. Alright, let's give that sucker a twist. Well, it's noisy, but it opens. And it's totally pitch black in there. We should, go in here. Alright. Let's go. This looks just like the door we went into. Where are we? We must be on the other side, yes? Which would put us directly above the conveyor belt. At any rate, we should keep moving. There's a great deal we've yet to investigate. Yeah, this room is huge. Stairs stretch from the catwalk to the boiler. The catwalk, I can see some scaffolding on the wall over there. Yep. It looks like a hand-operated winch, but it doesn't look like there's any way to, operate it. That means the wheel isn't attached. The stand pile of boxes is blocking my way. There are a whole bunch of boxes in my way. I can't get through. Okay. There's a bunch of stuff in our way. Premise for the massive boiler. I feel like I'm in a building built for another building. Look, Ace. It's some kind of snowman secret meeting. Those are just bags full of sand.
Oh my God.
You use them as a counterweight when you're lifting something with a pulley system. Man, you're too serious. There's a pair of wooden boxes here. There's nothing in them. What is this? Given its placement, it must unlock the door to the left. There's a weird indentation on the top of this thing. You think that means you have to insert something here? Yes, I would imagine so. Okay. There's a thick iron door blocking our way. Think this is... Yes, it looks like the exit. Looks like this door slides up into the ceiling. Dude, this room is huge.
Yep.
Looks like there's a door over here in this tunnel. The belt over there must deliver the coal, which is then picked up and thrown into this door. The door appears to be welded shut, however. Golden gear. It doesn't look like it was always golden like this. Well then, I imagine it was prepared especially for this game. Okay, so I have a feeling it's important. You're not being helpful. Okay, this one's bronze. this one is silver. Do you think it's made of pure silver? No way. Silver's way too soft to use for a gear. It's gotta be steel or iron gear that's been coated with silver. Eh, shouldn't have called it a silver gear then. Shouldn't have got your hopes up. Were you thinking you'd haul this thing back? Nah, but I think 7 could probably carry it, don't you? This gear's rusty, but it looks like it's still pretty sturdy. Conveyor belt runs into a sort of arched tunnel. Okay, so gold, bronze, and silver gears. Tunnel, it goes all the way across the ship. Haven't like found anything that I could like pick up. I don't have any items. There's a bunch of wooden boxes over here by the wall. I already looked through those. There's nothing there.
At the very least, you will never have to do any of the escape rooms over again. So once it's done, it's done.
Ah. Hey, Junpei, where are you going? The only thing in there is a closed numbered door. Kinda pointless to go back, huh? Yeah, it sure is. Well, there's a B on this door, and I can't get to it because there's stuff in my way. Furnace, boiler. There are several catwalks spidering across the walls of the room. Catwalk. Wait. Okay. This winch looks like the other one we saw earlier, although this one has a wheel on it. Alright, let's give this wheel a spin. Oh, what? That's weird. I don't feel any resistance. Gah. Ah, shit. Okay then. Good job, genius. You broke it. I didn't break it. It broke all by itself.
Alright, who broke it? Not mad, just wanna know.
Okay, so we go back through here. And... where the
Doesn't
heck
he
was
know the
other
rule about
winch?
escape rooms where if it doesn't move, that you shouldn't yank it?
Mm-hmm. There's a catwalk over there.
shame.
Yeah, if by catwalk you mean an narrow strip of metal. Junpei, are you brave enough to cross that? If you were to fall, you do realize that broken bones would be the least of your problems.
So encouraging.
Where the heck was the other one? This room is big enough that I'm getting turned around.
I think this is the largest escape room in this.
Yeah, I'm like almost positive.
It's not up there that we want to go. No, that's not what I meant to click. Up here. Up. Do we want to go... Hand-operated winch. There's no wheel to turn it. Oh yeah, I've got the wheel I pulled off the other winch, don't I? Let's see if it fits. Sweet, it's a perfect fit, like they were made for each other. Not shaky at all. Good, I should be able to turn this now. Good work, Junpei. We should be able to haul up the wooden box now. You see? The wooden box. It's under the catwalk. Can you see it? It's hanging from the rope on the winch, isn't it? It looks like there's some sort of device in the box. I'm not sure what it is. At any rate, you might as well turn that wheel now. I'm counting on you. No pressure! Alright, I'll turn the wheel. Huh, what's this? What happened? This wheel only turns to the left. It only turns to the left? That means we can't rail up that rope. Yeah, we can only let the rope down. Interesting. I don't think that will be a problem. We will simply need to go downstairs after letting the wooden box down. I will be counting on you, Junpei. Quit saying that! Sure thing, no sweat.
I believe the box has reached the floor.
Yeah.
He stuck his head out over the side of the catwalk and looked down. The box that had only recently hung just below the catwalk now sat on the floor. It had come to rest near the end of the tunnel that covered the conveyor belt.
June's down over by there.
Junpei could see her, still leaning against the wall as if she barely had the strength to sit up. Even from so far away, it was not difficult to see that she had not improved. He almost thought he could see heat rising from her body.
She doesn't seem to be improving.
Ace's expression was inscrutable, but he'd said what they had all been thinking.
Well, of course not. She's not gonna just get better right away, you know? It'll take time.
He tried desperately to convince himself that what he'd said was true.
What could be causing this, I wonder? Illness, perhaps?
Nah, it's gotta be exhaustion.
Santa's response was confident and certain.
She gets dropped into some weird-ass ship, forced to play some messed-up game. If you think about it, it's a lot weirder that we aren't freaking out just like her, you know?
So you're saying we're abnormal?
Yeah. We're just running around this room, solving all these puzzles like it's just business as usual. How the hell could you call that normal? We're just guinea pigs.
Santa snorted in disgust.
A guinea pig? You mean like a lab rat? You mean we're being used for some sort of experiment? Is that what you're saying?
Dunno. But it does seem like a possibility, you know?
They stood there for a few more minutes, no one speaking, until Santa turned and walked away from the winch. Junpei and Ace followed him. Catwalk here is shaped kind of like an M. It sure is. Okay, so... through here, stairs, down. There's a pair of boxes here. Okay, so that's not what I want. Oh. Control panel for something.
For something. I love how it specifies by being unspecific.
Does it go here? Maybe this hole is where the control panel goes. Well, there's only one way to find out. In you go! Dude, you did it! Everything looks alright. Okay, but what do we do now?
Push the button.
Push the button!
Push the button, Max!
Why don't you press the button next to it?
Button.
The orange one? Yes. Alright, I'll do that. Push the button! Pushing! Sweet, all sorts of lights are lighting up on this thing. And, oh, yes, I think I just heard something turn on. Oh? What's that? What happened? Junpei, look, the conveyor belt's moving. Conveyor belt? Well, I guess it's done moving now. There's still a bunch of coal on the belt, though. It looks like a bunch of it got dumped off the end of the belt into that wooden box where we found the control panel. Coal. Coal, huh? We got a box of coal. It's coal. It's shiny and black and coal-like. Okay. This is where the coal goes, or would go if all three of these things hadn't rusted shut. No. Let's see. Nope, that's not where I want to go. And neither is this. Ah, okay, there we go. There's a hole that'll let us put coal into the furnace. Maybe if we can get some coal in there and set it on fire. Okay, let's do it. Alright, that's the last of it. No coal left in the wooden box.
It sounded like the building was caving in. Moment.
And nothing. Great. Well, I guess I should have expected that. Why would just throwing coal into a cold furnace do anything? Ah, well, a man can dream. Junpei, explain it to me again. You're planning to stoke the furnace with coal, which will heat the water stored up there, and make it steam, which will then drive something else. Am I correct? In other words, you want to generate enough pressure with the steam to power the turbine and drive the steam engine, right? That is how steam engines work.
That is a more technical wording for it.
Yeah, I guess that's the, gist of it. Well, in that case, this isn't enough coal. This furnace is enormous, so we're gonna need a whole hell of a lot more coal than this. Very well then, if the three of us work together, then we should manage to fill it much faster.
Ace having the only brain cell.
I want to help too. Man, I totally didn't even see her walk up. Are you feeling up to that? Yes. Yeah, right. You look like you're one stiff breeze away from falling over, June. I think you'd better rest some more, alright? But no arguing. You need your rest. So you just stay there. We'll handle this. Okay. I understand. Alright, time for some manly work.
Okay.
Let's get this coal into,
Junpei.
those furnaces.
I would love it if he would shut up.
Man, this is a lot of work. What did you expect? Alright, I think this should be sufficient. Alright, now we just gotta light it. Junpei, hand me your matches. What makes you think I have matches? I see. Then, how are we gonna light it? Perhaps there's a device nearby that will allow us to remotely ignite the coal. Let's take a look, shall we? Some sort of ignition device, huh? Huge golden gear. I have a feeling it's important. I can't figure out how I'm supposed to light this thing. Junpei, have you thought about looking at the other side? You're right. I should take a look over there. Okay. keep clicking on the boxes when I mean to hit the stairs. Is this? I think it might be. It probably is. I think this is how we might ignite the furnace. That means if we move that thing down... Alright, let's do it. Here we go! Hey, Junpei, Ace, look at this! There's big gears turning under the boiler here. Hmm? Oh.
There's things.
The gears. They're spinning. What the hell are you guys waiting for? Let's start looking. Yeah, there's things in them. The gold one, got the bronze one. And yes, I'm trying to get to this. Okay. So, gold was bottom left, bronze was bottom right, silver was at the top. And we take these up here. It looks like this thing unlocks the door. There's a depression here that looks like it's the outline of 3 circles laid on top of each other in a triangle. Maybe if we put those 3 discs we found into this thing. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's stick them in. Oh, I didn't even need to remember. Oh, no, wait, yes I did, because he put him in wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
That's odd. Nothing's happening. Maybe you're, I don't know, putting them in the wrong places? Perhaps you have them facing the wrong directions? Perhaps you should rotate the discs to make some of the lines connect to each other, or to one another? Well, no harm in trying.
Maybe you should smack it a few times.
When the disc is
blow on
it will rotate a certain amount. When the white arrow is clicked, the discs are switched. Please note when the discs are switched, the angles for the discs are reset. Okay, so switch, switch. I mean, this one's pretty obvious. The red lines on these discs. I think maybe I can make a star polygon with these. I've solved your boiler room puzzle.
Yes! The door's open!
Given the circumstances, Junpei's happiness was certainly understandable. Ace seemed to share his excitement.
All right, Junpei. Why don't you go get June now? Santa and I will keep an eye on the store.
Santa snorted.
Why do we need to do that? Even if it shuts, we know how to solve the puzzle now. We could just open it again.
Well, I suppose that's true. Shall all 3 of us go and collect June then?
Nah, I'm cool. I'll let Junpei handle it.
He still seemed irritated by something, however, and sat down on the stairs petulantly.
So are you only interested in being contrary?
Yeah.
Ace sighed with the air of a long-suffering parent.
Alright, I'll go get June. I'll be right back.
He gave a quick nod to Ace and Santa and dashed off down the stairs. Before long, he was back on the first floor, next to the conveyor belt and June.
Oh, Jumpy!
As he drew closer, she stood up slowly.
Are you okay?
He did his best to sound calm and nonchalant, but there was no hiding the genuine concern in his voice.
Yes, I'm fine now. I'm sorry I made you worry.
June blushed. He wasn't sure if she was embarrassed or still feverish. Little of both.
Yeah, a
Let me
little
check.
both.
Just to make sure, he reached out and put his hand against her forehead.
Good. You're feeling a lot better.
She was feeling far less warm than she had earlier, but still wasn't down to what seemed normal to
Are
him.
you sure you're alright?
He had to be sure. June gave him a look.
Oh, you're such a warrior, Jumpy. Oops, I mean, warrior.
June giggled. He wasn't sure if she'd just made a joke or not, but seeing her smile again made Junpei feel at ease. If she was well enough to smile and laugh, then she really was feeling much better. He gave her a friendly poke on the forehead.
All right, let's go.
Go where?
Oh, right, I didn't tell you. We got the exit open, so...
Great! Let's go!
June clasped her hands and nodded urgently. They headed back to the exit, but on their way they found...
Oh, it's...
Santa?
Santa was sitting on the stairs. He was, however, holding something in his right hand and staring at it with a strange expression. Junpei and June slowed down and finally stopped in front of him.
What are you looking at?
Santa answered without looking up, his voice quiet.
It's a photo. It's my sister.
Sister? Santa, you've got a sister?
Santa simply nodded.
Yeah. Kid was cute as a button.
June cocked her head, confused.
She was only about an inch tall then?
Santa glared at her.
Oh, sorry. I guess an inch is a little large for a button. Probably more like a half inch.
Girl.
God.
Santa didn't smile or laugh.
Sorry.
Why are you looking at it?
He simply turned his back, words. He simply turned back to his picture and spoke.
I was her Santa Claus.
Wait, what?
Aww. This sudden revelation took Junpei by surprise. He had no idea what Santa meant. He glanced at June, who shook her head. She didn't know either.
Have you ever heard the story of the two Santa Clauses? It goes that a long time ago, there were two Santas. One of them wore white, and the other one wore black. The white Santa gave presents to good kids, and the black Santa played tricks on bad kids. They went on like that for a while, but eventually the black Santa's tricks started to get worse and worse. Pretty soon, the white Santa couldn't stand it anymore, and he stabbed the black Santa to death. When he stabbed the other Santa, the white Santa got blood all over his clothes, and that's why, these days, his clothes are red. You could say that red is all that's left of the black Santa.
Junpei was silent. He could think of nothing to say. June was staring at Santa, sadness plain on her face. He continued.
I wonder which Santa I am. The white Santa or the black Santa?
Huh.
Oh.
All right, let's go.
Santa stood up suddenly, his downcast demeanor gone. He shoved the picture back in his pocket and headed back up the stairs, taking them two at a time.
Huh?
Junpei and June looked at one another. There was nothing they could think of to say.
Hey, what are you two doing? Let's get moving, come on!
Santa's voice echoed across the room from above them.
Let's go.
Yeah.
They nodded and followed him quickly up the stairs. Ace was waiting for them at the top. He was leaning against the handrail. He looked very tired.
Oh, you're finally back.
The door had shut, but it wasn't cause for concern.
Sorry we took so long.
Junpei quickly solved the disc puzzle a second time, and the door opened once again.
Let's go.
In single file, they walked through. After walking for nearly 15 feet, they found themselves in front of a metal door. It opened easily enough, and they passed through it as well. A new room stretched out before them.
Huh. Is this a warehouse?
No, I believe this is the cargo room. This must be where they store all of this vessel's freight.
There are wooden crates everywhere. I wonder how old they are.
Junpei, Ace, and June had stopped unconsciously, pausing to take in their new surroundings. Santa's voice broke through their momentary trance.
Well, we probably ought to start with finding the exit, right? Let's get going.
One escape room immediately into another.
Yup.
Okay. These
Hopefully
crates are
this one
quite
won't take
large. They seem to
nearly
be
as long.
tied to one another with sturdy straps. There are a bunch of bags here. I wonder what's in them.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna let the dogs out.
Alright. What's that? It's a card. It has a headshot on it. A headshot? Yeah. I'm not really sure what purpose this could possibly serve. Seems quite important, though.
A little bit.
These crates are a little smaller than the others. They look like they're the children of the other crates. What goes through your head, Junpei? Junpei, that sounds like some sort of fairy tale. Really? I don't know, man. You ever think about how crates would reproduce? Doesn't sound like a fairy tale to me.
Oh,
What
Lord.
goes on in his brain?
It's just like a screensaver pinging around.
Oh. A box. There's nothing inside. That is more than a box.
He doesn't know how to count.
Jumpy, look at that crate over there. There's something on it, isn't there? Yeah, looks like a coffin. A coffin? Yeah, seems kind of weird to find a coffin here, right? As if it's telling us search here. It's the sarcophagus with the hot mummy in it. There are 3 crates here stacked up like stairs. If we climb up there, I think we can get over the fence. Junpei,
this
think
is
you
just
could
like
go take a look at
Half-Life.
that? Sorry, but no thanks. Why? I've, got a bad feeling about that. Pussy. Okay, fine. I'll go. Please be careful, Santa. Yeah, but just in case. Wait, what's he going to do with that screw? I don't see what throwing a screw at a fence is. Holy shit. This... Oh man. There's electricity running through that fence. Looks like it. Then we can't get to the other side. Well, we could jump off those crates, but we wouldn't be able to get back. Another bag, another card. I see. It's locked. We need the key. All the boxes have numbers on them. Do they... Oh. Ace bent down and picked up something that had been sitting next to the box. Junpei, take a look at this. Cards. Alright, we've got 4 of them now.
Why did you have the time to make these?
There are some numbered boxes and cards with pictures of all of us. Does that mean we need to collect the cards that we don't have? I guess so. Come back to that after we've got them all. We've searched all the boxes. There's nothing in them. There's mine. And yours. There's nothing in here. There's some sort of liquid in these barrels. I'm not sure what it is, however.
I wonder if the hand in it.
Drink it.
Drink it, drink it, drink it.
Drink the mysterious ship liquid.
The forbidden barrel juice. I don't know what's in these barrels.
That's how the crates have been reproducing.
Judging by their weight,
Forbidden
perhaps a
barrel
liquid
juice?
of some sort.
It's like, you know how when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, it basically just turns into liquid inside the... It's like that. It's like that.
Soup goop.
Clover. Okay, that's 8. And there's Ace.
Now we finally have all 9 picture cards. We just need to insert these cards into the slots at the front of each box.
Junpei stared at the cards in his hands. Ace peered over his shoulder at them.
You know which card goes in which box, yes?
Junpei gave him a look.
Yeah, of course I do. It's
Obviously.
Really obvious. You just match our numbers to the numbers, then you pop the corresponding card in the right box. So for instance, the card with the picture of Ace on it goes into box 1. The card with the picture of Snake on it goes into box 2.
Oh,
so
I see.
Huh?
Junpei thought he might have imagined it, but he could have sworn Ace stiffened.
I'll leave the rest to you.
Hey, wait!
He quickly turned and walked away.
What's wrong with him? Oh well, whatever.
Doing his best to clear his mind for the task at hand, he turned back toward the boxes.
Time to solve the 9 boxes puzzle.
9 cards with pictures and 9 boxes. Junpei stared at them for a moment and then began.
Ace's card is in box 1, Snake's is in number 2.
Yeah, this one's so
I just need
obvious
to do
they
the
don't
same
even
for the
make you
rest.
do it.
And finally, the 9th man's card into box 9.
All 9 box lids popped open at once.
Yeah! Oh, they opened!
He peered inside.
What the?
In each box was a single pin.
9 pins?
They looked a little like sewing pins, but much thicker.
I guess I'll take them with me.
Put him in a sandwich.
Junpei collected them all quickly and shoved them into his pocket.
We're trying to get a shiny.
These stairs, they go up 3 stories. What are you waiting for, Junpei? Whatever, I'm going. This is the only door here, except for the one we just came in through. Then this is the exit. No shit, Sherlock. Of course it's locked. Is it an electronic pick? Or lock? Yeah. No, just a keyhole, right under the doorknob. So to open this door, we've got to find the key that fits that keyhole. Yeah.
Ugh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are several lights here with numbers 1 through 9. Only the light with a 9 on it is lit. There are 6 holes here, and it looks like the pins I just found would be a perfect fit for them. The ones you found in the 9 boxes, right? Well, why don't you try it? Alright, let's see what happens. I think 2, 4, and 6 should go here on the top part, and 3, 5, and 7 on the bottom part. Well, some of them lit up. Yeah, 3 and 6. I wonder if there's some kind of rule that determines which lights go on. Well, I put the 2, 4, and 6 pins on the top part, and the 3, 5, and 7 pins on the bottom. It's the digital roots, because of course it is. You think?
And yeah.
You think maybe it's the digital root? You fucking think?
Yes, no. No way.
No, it's not.
Digital root. 2 plus 4 plus 6 equals 12. The digital root of 12
Could it ever
is
be the
3. It really does feel like talking to kindergartners. Therefore, light 3 turns on. 3 plus 5 plus 7 equals 15. The digital root of 15 is 6. Therefore, light 6 turns on. Makes sense, right? I see. The lights that match the digital root of the pins inserted on the top and lower parts will light up. So that's how it works. Well, there's one other thing I'd like to check. Well, if he wants to try, he's certainly welcome to. So, he'd put the 1, 2, and 3 pins on the top, and the 6, 7, and 8 pins on the bottom. Oh. They turned off. 6 plus 7 plus 8 equals 21. The digital root of 21 is 3, therefore light 3 turns off. 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6. The digital root of 6 is 6, therefore light 6 turns off.
Is this like the square puzzle? With math?
It goes in the square hole.
That's right, it goes in the square hole.
You know the square puzzle I was talking about? The one where you have to press the squares in order? But with, like, math. And I hate it.
Oh, I get it now. If the digital root for the pins you insert is the same as the number on the lights that are lit, those lights turn off. Yeah, looks like that's the trick. Alright, now we know how it works. You want to give it a try? Wait, you mean you know what we're supposed to do with these lights? Well, no, but I figure we could try and see if we can turn them all on, you know? I figure something's gotta happen if we can manage that. Turn on the lights, huh? Oh god. Okay, Junpei, let's make sure we know how this works, alright? Pick one of the 6 holes, then pick one of the pins in your hand and insert it into the hole. Keep it up until all 6 of the holes are filled. Once all the holes are filled, the lights with the numbers that correspond to the digital roots of the pins in the upper and lower parts will turn on. However, if a digital root corresponds to a light that is already on, that light will be turned off. The goal is to turn all the lights on.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Alright, let's do it.
Too much math.
So much math.
I hate math. Which is very funny considering I love this game.
Well, let's see. Let's get... Oh, no, wait. No, that's not what I want. Let's get a 1 there, and can I get an 8 with these? If I do... Yes, 9, 3, 5. Okay, so then... Oh, because of the different amounts of numbers there. Oh, no, wait, no. This'll work. Okay, for 2, let's say 7, 3, 1. Yeah, sure, that works. And then if I want to make it 7, I'm gonna need to get to 16. So that works. 3. So I want something that totals to 12.
753 or 752. Sorry. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's 14.
Yeah. 732.
Yeah.
That works. And then you want something that totals to 15 to get 6.
You mean 16? Oh wait, yeah. No, 15.
Yeah.
God. Digital roots. I hate them.
6, 4, 5.
Yeah. And then
Now
we
we
just
need
need
4
4
and
and
5.
5. So something that totals 13 and something that totals 14. So...
Well, 752 is 14.
912 is 13.
No, 912 would be 12. 913.
Oh, 913.
Yes. That's 13, so
hate
that's
this.
4. And then, I already forgot what the other one was.
752, because 5 and 2 make 7, and 7 and 7 is 14. Isn't it?
Yes. Okay.
Ooh, F.
I failed. All the lights are on and the shutters opened up. Hey, does that mean... Yeah, we gotta do it again. Man, I thought I was doing so well. Okay, so we've got 9 holes, and there's an F up above them. I don't know what the F means, but I do know one thing. What's that? This time, there are 9 holes, so we need to insert 9 pins. Man, that's boring. Well, why don't you just try it, alright?
What's it?
Oh, I know these. All of them have to add up to one number.
Oh, it's
diagonally,
one of those.
vertically, and horizontally.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
Ew. Awful.
I forget what number it is, though.
We need it's a 15 because it's hexadecimal, I'm pretty sure.
Thank you.
Okay. So, if we want 15, that actually makes it pretty easy. Just put the 5 in the center, and then we just work around that.
Put a 1 and a 9 next to it.
Yeah, if we put a 1 and a 9 like that. And then... Let's see.
943. No.
What are you doing, sir?
Well, I guess it would have to be 943.
Hang on. So these two would have to total 14. And so with these two, because then get these to be 50. Or no, wait, no, these would have to total 6. So actually no. I'm gonna put the 2 here. And 4 here. And then if that's how it goes, then the 8 would have to go here.
That would need to be 10.
Ugh, shit, yeah. There's nothing else. Huh.
I think the 8 has to go where it was you put it, because if you put 8 and 9 together, it's already more than
Way too
50.
much.
Yeah. So 8 has to go there. That's 9. So then this one
that
would
would be a
be
6.
6. So then 4 does go up here.
Yeah.
But then there would have to be a 10 here.
Can you switch the 1 and,
And
the 6?
there couldn't
Or-
be anything there. Yeah, something's wrong here.
What if you switch where, what if you flip it around? Is there, would that change anything?
I mean, if we just flip the whole thing around, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
No.
So we would still be left with the same
Yeah.
empty spots.
Wait. 9 and 8 can't be on the same column and row.
Yeah.
Maybe you should do 9, 5, 1 on the center?
Like that?
I meant the up and down, but we see if
I
there's
mean-
anything we can change there.
Yeah, either way, it's
Yeah.
basically the same thing, doing it like that.
Yeah.
So then if we did it that way, let's say if we put 4 here and 2 here, that's 15. And then
So
6
5
would
plus
go
2,
here,
yeah.
and 8 would go here, and that's also 15.
Yep.
And then
So
3
2
would
plus
go here,
7.
and 7 goes here.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. I was actually about to say, you know, it would be easier to start with 15 and subtract the numbers that you need, and subtract the 2 numbers that you have to figure out what the third number should be.
There we go. All pins inserted, all lights lit. We did it. The power's on now. It looks like there's electricity going to the monitor on top now. Alright, let's see if we can activate the device on the top.
This is why this game comes with a calculator.
Yeah. Okay.
And why every participant also has a calculator.
Yeah. A green button, a red button, and a lever. I wonder what these do. I think this might help. What? What the hell is this? Where did he find this? What is that? Where'd you find it? I found it when you were messing around with the pinholes. It looks like instructions for this thing. According to what it says here, this thing's a remote control for that. That? Yeah, that. What's he pointing? Oh,
God,
that machine over there. Apparently it's called the Pushmaster 5000. The what now? Are you serious? Whatever. So what are we supposed to do with the Pushmaster 5000?
You're supposed to push.
You see the coffin over there on top of the crates? Yeah. Yeah? Don't you want to know what the deal is with it? I do. You want to check it out? Yeah? Alright, how do you think we're gonna get there? Well, there were some crates on the right side of the fence that someone piled up like stairs. Maybe if we make a path to the coffin from there? How would we do that? Line up the crates. I guess? Yeah, that sounds about right. I guess this is just another of Zero's puzzles. Yeah. Anyway, let's give it a shot. No, looks like the Pushmaster 5000 runs off a battery. So to keep it from using up its energy too fast, it's been programmed so that it'll only start moving once its path has been completely programmed in. Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Okay, so the monitor shows a top-down view of the area where we can move the machine. Once I want to send my orders to the Pushmaster 5000, I just pull the lever.
How many times are they gonna say the words Pushmaster 5000?
Can we call it the P5K?
Reset button. Okay.
Jacqueline, what do you want?
It's not showing
Why are you
me
looking
the.
at me? Can you press the green button?
Yeah, I did. This is the reset button.
Press the little knob.
Okay, there we go. Let's give this a go. Sure thing. Just keep in mind that there is a limit on the battery, alright? The battery dies after 50 moves. At least that's what it says in the manual. 50 moves, huh? Also, keep in mind that the Pushmaster 5000 can't move the heavy metal crates, okay? Got it.
I hate this name. I hate the name of this thing.
I think it's fun. When a square adjacent to it is clicked, it will move it. It will move. If there's a crate in the way, it will push up to a single crate, move the crates appropriately and efficiently, and fill the yellow areas. Okay.
I'm being pestered by dogs. One is trying to lick my foot, and the other is trying to gain my attention.
Oh, a good old crate puzzle. Okay. I'm not the best at crate puzzles.
I think you need to go around the bottom first.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah, no, that won't.
And you can push 2 crates at the same time.
It said 1, didn't it?
Yeah, it said up to a single crate.
Yeah.
Push the top right one to the left one. Then go up, to the left, down. Push that right one to the right, all the way. Alright, now go around the bottom. Alright, no.
The one on the row that you're column that you're currently on, push it all the way down to the bottom.
Push that
Yeah.
one all the way down.
I think
Push the bottom one all the way to the right. Okay, the what? Go left twice. Up one. Right.
This one.
No. Stop. Down. Right.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, actually. We messed up. Because we need room to be able to push that last one in. And the metal crate we can't touch.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, I'm trying not to backseat game.
Yeah.
What?
I
We were
forgot the
close,
order that we did to start this.
Do you want me to redo it?
Yeah.
Okay. So down,
Down.
right. Then you go around these guys,
Okay, yeah.
and that one to the left.
That.
Up. Left. Left. Down. Okay. So this is a good place to take a moment. Because we want to be able to get We especially want one in the second spot from the coffin, because that's going to be the one we cannot push in from the side.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I think it might actually be better to push that the farthest right crate that's not in the yellow down and over before going all the way around, because it might save on moves.
Do we need all 50 moves?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
You might.
But yeah, I
don't know, 50 seems like a high limit, but at the same time, this game.
I could just look it up.
No, hang on. I don't know what I'm doing.
also we can touch the yellow area with our stupid little ass.
Yeah. So that would... Wait. I might have something.
Ah, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
And we can get that there.
Oh, yeah. And then move the top one to the right. And then the other two will be able to go in.
Yeah.
So we might want to reset.
Yeah. Because we don't have a lot of moves. Okay. So...
So we want to get them into a plus formation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So push this up now.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
This one there.
You can push that one all the way down and then go get the other one.
There. Oh god, we did need all 50 moves!
Hell yeah. Good job, Vado.
Okay, I'm done.
You saw that pattern way before I did.
What do I do next? Just be quiet and watch. See? It's moving already.
Like a pushing Roomba.
Okay, so... fun fact. As a child, I was playing Pokemon Platinum, and there was one of these push puzzles.
Oh, one of the strength puzzles?
Yeah. I don't remember which cave it was in, but, like, I got stuck on there and decided to just spend a lot of time grinding instead. And, by the time I eventually got to the Elite Four, I was like super over leveled because I had been stuck on that puzzle for so long.
Well, congratulations, you have graduated to being able to complete a push puzzle in the necessary amount of moves. You've done it.
I did it. Great. Now we can reach
And all
the
I had-
coffin.
All you had was a little bit of nudging for the brain.
We just need to climb those crates over by the fence.
Trivia, that hurts. Stop this. Stop this with your little paw.
Mummy!
Oh.
Just kidding.
God. Break.
He smirked heartily at his own joke.
Really?
Junpei grumbled and shook his head.
Whatever. Just open it.
Okay, okay.
Junpei resisted the urge to remind Santa that he would have opened it a long time ago if Santa hadn't interrupted, and quickly threw off the lid of the coffin. They peered inside. Contrary to what they'd expected, the inside of the coffin was quite large. It was mostly empty, but not completely so. Laying on the bottom was a rusty
A
key,
small key and
and next to the key,
a gun?
Yeah, a revolver.
It looks pretty old.
I wonder if this is a replica.
Junpei reached down slowly and cautiously picked up the revolver. In his hand, it felt heavy.
This thing is...
He checked the cylinder. There were 6 bullets.
Are these real bullets?
The barrel was
Why do I
rifled,
not trust?
and
Why
nothing
do I not
seemed to
trust
be
Junpei?
blocking it.
I don't trust Junpei to hold a gun.
I don't think this man knows trigger discipline.
Yeah.
As Ace had said, the gun was a very old one. However, it appeared to have been well maintained. If it was a real gun, Junpei thought it would most likely function perfectly. If it was real...
If this is real? Oh.
Holding the gun made Junpei feel unpleasant. Carefully, he placed it back in the coffin.
You're not gonna take it?
Of course not. All something like this is gonna do is cause more trouble. It's a powerful weapon that gives one person a huge advantage. Something like that would be way too dangerous to have around. We're in enough danger already.
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
Maybe Zero put this gun here, hoping that something like that might happen. In other words, maybe he put it here to make us fight each other.
In that case, we should most certainly leave it here. I, for one, have no desire to let Zero control me.
Me neither.
The others nodded. They had no desire to be under Zero's control either.
Okay, we've got that figured out. But you aren't gonna leave that key in there, are you?
Of course not. We'll take that with us.
Junpei picked up the rusty key and slid the top of the coffin back into place, the gun back where they had found it.
That is a jank looking key.
Yeah.
The top kind of looks like a coffin.
The kind of key a vampire would have.
Let's just put this key in here, and yes, sounds like that did it. Yay! Looks like it's open, Jumpy. I see. This key should open this door. Hey, what are you waiting for? Let's go. Yes, it's opening.
You found it!
You found it. You found the gun.
The hallway that left the cargo room headed straight toward the stern.
A long hallway, huh?
Let's check it out.
Junpei and the other 3 proceeded down it, silently. Some distance along it, a large room opened up on the left-hand side. It looked familiar. An iron grate covered each of the elevators. Junpei and his companions drew to a stop and began to discuss what their next move should be.
We've seen this elevator before.
We got off the one on the left just a little while ago.
Then we went through the number 6 door, and that took us to the engine room.
Yes, and after that we passed through the cargo room.
And now we're back here.
In other words, we made a loop. We're back where we started.
Junpei approached the elevator.
We needed a card to get to this point.
I don't see a card reader here.
Perhaps we aren't able to activate it from this location.
Why don't you just try pushing the button?
Yeah.
Gently, he pushed the triangular button on the wall. A moment passed.
It works.
Nothing suspicious about that.
The
Oh,
elevator
never.
door opened and then eventually shut again.
I think so.
Pushing the button had apparently restored power to the elevator.
Good. Now we can go back if we need to.
What do we do? Should we return to C deck?
No, this hallway keeps going. Even if we do end up going back, I think we should see what's down there first.
I agree. Let's go.
Their decision made, Junpei and his companions left the elevators behind and continued down the hallway. Sometime later,
Looks like it ends here.
Santa, who had been walking several paces in front of the rest, suddenly stopped.
Only one door.
They searched around just in case.
There isn't anything else. It's the only way to go.
It
Ominous.
was the door or nothing.
All right, let's open it.
Junpei took a deep breath, readied himself, then grabbed the doorknob and pulled the door open. He paused for a moment, then stepped through into the room. And there he saw the number that had hung over their heads since they'd woken up. 9.
The 9 door.
Like the numbers on every other door, this one, too, was a rough shape made of red paint. Its door was set into the back wall of the room. Junpei leapt toward it with a sudden burst of hopeful energy. It was a large double door, heavy and full of solemn importance. He grabbed the door handle and shook.
Of course it wouldn't be that easy.
The red sat on the wall, next to the door. Displayed on it...
Vacant. Huh. We finally found it.
Junpei felt
You
himself
found it.
overwhelmed by a torrent of emotion. At last, they'd found the exit, but cold gripped his heart, and he knew all too well why. As he stood, frozen, unsure of what to think or feel,
Jumpy!
Huh?
Look! Behind you!
he spun around
Oh.
and couldn't believe what he saw.
What? A 9 door. There's another one. Why?
Junpei's voice was barely audible, even to himself. He stumbled toward the second door, as if somehow compelled. It was a small, single door. It sat in the starboard corner of the room, on the same wall as the door they'd entered from, but in the opposite corner.
It's 9, no matter how you look at it. The red is there too. So this is a real one?
Junpei shook the door handle pointlessly and muttered to himself.
Why the hell are there 2 doors?
It was Santa who answered.
There were always 2 doors. I mean, if you think about it, Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it.
It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9.
Of course, we just assumed that there was only one. After all, why would there be more than one?
Oh, man. We fell for it. There are 2 doors. That means that all 9 people who had met at the central staircase could escape. No one would be left behind. Now it makes sense why the bracelets are numbers. 1 through 9. Divided into teams of 4 and 5 people. The digital root of both teams ends up being 9. Take 1, 2, 7, 8 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 for example. the digital route for both teams would be 9. Or 2349 and 15678. The digital route is still 9. There are a bunch of combinations that work, and they all end up the same way. If one team has the digital route of
Hello?
9, so would the
Hello?
other.
My stream just froze.
Oh no!
I got real concerned for a second.
The answer's simple. From the very beginning, the Nonary game was designed to save all 9 people. That's how it was meant to be. Zero didn't lie. He never said there'd be only one 9 door. But anyone who'd found themselves in the game would have assumed that was the case. Fights would have broken out. One team would likely betray or deceive the other. Someone might be hurt. Someone might get killed. But eventually, they'd reach this very same room and realize how pointless all their infighting was. There were 2 doors. There was no need to kill each other.
They'd understand and be appalled, overwhelmed with guilt at what they'd done.
This game was designed for that purpose. This Nonary game. We were all arguing and fighting over doors at the beginning. But if there had been one slip-up, one tiny mistake that led to more, everything could have been so much worse now.
The thought of it sent a chill down his spine.
So, what are we going to do, Junpei?
A voice broke through Junpei's frantic thoughts. Santa's voice.
Oh, right.
Hey, keep it together, man.
Sorry.
Jeez. So what do we do?
What do you...
We need to think about our next step.
Our numbers are 1, 3, 5, and 6. That's a digital route of 6.
The 4 of us can't open the number 9 door.
The 4? Wait, don't tell me.
Yep. There's one combination that'll let 3 of us open the 9 door. That's why I'm asking, what now?
What now?
It took him no time at all to determine the answer. There was only one combination of 3 people that would give a digital root of 9. 1 plus 3 plus 5 equals 9. That would mean...
No, we gotta go back.
That wasn't a possibility he was willing to consider. Santa and Ace agreed.
Yep.
I agree. We cannot leave June behind.
Junpei let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding.
Are you sure? I don't mind staying.
June's body betrayed her true feelings. Her eyes were wet with the beginnings of tears, and her legs shook.
It's okay. There's no way we'd leave you behind.
Santa had said what Junpei had known the moment he realized which 3 people could go through the door.
Besides, I'd rather drown at the bottom of the ocean than escape with this sausage fest.
God.
Maybe I'll get to go to Atlanta.
Are you sure you don't mean Illinois?
Huh? Oh, right.
There's something wrong with him.
There's something deeply wrong with him.
Perhaps it was the sudden reassurance that no one wanted to leave June behind, but Junpei laughed harder than he had in some time. Santa and Ace smiled.
You guys.
June blinked tears from her eyes and bit her lip. She didn't seem to know what else to say.
Very well. Best we head back to C-Deck then. We should be able to take the elevator we passed earlier. Perhaps Clover, 7, and Lotus will have returned from door 1.
Even as Ace spoke, they knew finding the others wouldn't improve the situation.
But even with all 7 of us...
Ace knew it. They all knew it.
Standing around here isn't going to accomplish anything, don't you agree? Let's find the other 3 first, and then search for another solution.
I guess you're right.
All right, let's go.
Ace looked at all 3 of them, then turned and headed through the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Santa and June followed. Junpei started toward the door, then stopped.
Come to think of it, what is this room?
It didn't seem terribly important now, but what exactly was it?
We were so focused on the doors, we didn't even look around.
A red carpet ran between two columns of wooden benches that ran the length of the room.
Huh. It looks like it's set up for some kind of ceremony. But what kind?
Facing the 9 door was the carpet leading to the bow of the ship. And at the end... was it an altar, perhaps? There was a small rectangular alcove at the end of the carpet, and inside the alcove was a raised platform. Resting on top of the platform was a coffin.
Huh. A coffin? What on earth is a coffin doing in a place like this?
But before Junpei had time to answer that question...
Hey, Junpei! The hell are you doing? Let's move!
Santa's voice echoed in from the hall outside.
Right, okay. I'll be right there.
Junpei turned on his heel and left the quiet, somber room.
Normal. That's
So
normal.
normal. So normal.
Super normal.
Just the most normal.
Normalest thing ever.
So normal to have a coffin with a keypad on it.
And something banging on the inside of it.
They took the elevator up to C deck. Once there, they headed back toward the main hall and the central staircase. It didn't take them long.
Look, it's...
Seven and Lotus.
They didn't look happy.
We've got a problem.
Clover is gone.
What?
Uh-oh. Junpei and his 3 companions looked at one another. He turned back to Seven and Lotus.
What do you mean, gone?
Santa, Ace, and June had their own questions to ask.
When?
Why?
You two went into door 1 with Clover, didn't you?
Seven and Lotus responded as best they could.
Yeah, we went through the door together.
But Clover barely spoke to us.
She just did her own thing the whole time.
Huh.
There were 4 rooms on the other side of door 1.
She wouldn't let us into the 4th room.
She just said, I'll take care of this one.
And shut the door.
She must have blocked it with something on the other side.
We waited for a while, but Clover didn't come out.
We called for her, but she didn't answer.
So I kicked down the door and we went into the room.
But
It was empty.
Clover wasn't there.
There was a door on the other wall.
And it was open.
We figure she opened the door and left by herself.
We ran after her, of course, but
Obviously we didn't find her. We figured that much out.
Clover's gone.
Junpei thought for a moment.
When did this happen?
We got here just before you.
You certainly have excellent timing.
So you haven't searched anywhere other than near the staircase?
No, we haven't.
Finally, Ace spoke. His voice had an edge of resolve and concern.
Very well then. We'd best separate and look for Clover. We haven't much time left. Let's begin.
Yeah.
There were quick nods all around, and the 6 remaining players spread out. Junpei and June ran into the central hospital room and looked around.
She's not here.
No, she isn't.
They searched a little longer, but with no luck. They couldn't find Clover.
There's no sign of her. Let's go.
Finally, they gave up and left the central hospital room. Slowly, they made their way back to the hallway. At last, they reached the stairs, and Junpei spoke.
All right. I'm thinking we should probably split up. I'll head back to the stairs and take the elevator down to E deck. June, you can take the stairs up to B deck.
All right, that sounds good. But,
What?
could you stop calling me by that code name when we're alone?
Huh? Sure, right. I'll do that.
There was a reason Junpei persisted in calling her June even when they were alone. Although perhaps not the best reason. He was embarrassed to call her by the nickname he'd used when they were children. How would you say this? Is it like Connie or Canny?
Yeah, I think it's Connie.
It would probably be Connie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connie.
They just translated it weird.
Yeah. 9 years ago, it came naturally. After all, they were children. But now that they were adults, it felt strange. Regardless of what he might hope for, to call a woman he wasn't dating by such a childish nickname felt odd to him. Of course, to call her Miss Kurashiki would be even more awkward, and simply Kurashiki would seem a little brusque. Although he couldn't put his finger on why, it felt somewhat forward to call her Akane when they hadn't seen one another for so long. In short, it was simply easier for him to call her June and leave it at that.
Jumpy.
Oh, no, it's nothing.
All right, I'm going then.
Yeah, be careful, Kane.
June, or perhaps more appropriately, Connie, blushed and smiled.
You be careful too, Jumpy.
Yeah,
Aw.
got it. Take care.
Like they just removed a syllable from the names. Like Junpei would be like, because n and n are the same.
Yeah.
So it's Junpei and Kane.
Ah.
But what she actually calls him in Japanese is Junpei-kun.
Junpei looked after her for a moment as she ran up the stairs, then turned around and took off for the hallway.
I think in Japanese he just calls her Akane, so that's why he's like overthinking it here.
Yeah.
He's silly.
Tragedy always strikes when one least expects it. Oh no. But to wait for a man to stand before striking him down seems almost crueler than dealing the fatal blow while he lies on the ground. A light in a dark place. June's smile had given him hope, both for escape and possibly for something else. It was that hope that raised his spirits just enough that they might soon be fully dashed. He opened the elevator door, and there she was. A woman sat, slouched against the wall. Lotus. Junpei felt his blood turn to ice. Her body was limp, and her skin, smooth and pale as always, was covered in bright red blood. Junpei felt his chest constrict. He couldn't breathe, and his legs began to shake. A slow, cold drop of sweat trickled down his back. He felt his stomach somersault. Junpei's mind went blank, all his thoughts replaced with endless, hissing white. Driven by little more than instinct, he began to walk toward Lotus, slowly. Each slow movement of his stiff limbs brought him closer to her corpse. Finally, he stood next to her. Robotically, he bent down and put his hand against her neck. There was no pulse, no rise and fall of breathing. She was slightly warm. Something, somewhere in Junpei's shaken mind, told him that meant she had been killed recently. Yes, Junpei thought, his mind slowly returning. She had been killed. Someone had killed her. There was a deep cut on the left side of her chest. Blood still oozed from it, although clearly her heart had stopped beating some time ago. The weapon had been a knife, then? Perhaps she had been stabbed in the heart, once. She would have died immediately. He took little comfort from knowing she must have suffered very little. Only then did Junpei notice. Lotus's bracelet was gone.
Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1. You escape from this ship. 2. More hotly, which is 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or the backside of the wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically.
Was that why the killer had ended Lotus's life? So that they might have the number 8 bracelet? If that was true, then the killer was whoever wanted the number 8 bracelet. Or
could be a
perhaps
lot of
more
people.
accurately, the person who would gain the most by obtaining bracelet number 8. Who is that? Who would benefit the most from the number 8 bracelet? The thought had only just entered Junpei's mind when he heard a noise. Uh-oh. A sound like a sharp knife cutting through wet meat. It struck him as strange that the noise came from inside his own body. A moment later, the pain hit him. It wasn't merely pain, there was heat, extreme heat, as well. He felt as though molten iron had been splashed against the side of his body. Finally, his brain made the connection. He had been stabbed. But where? His body was quickly going numb. He couldn't tell where the knife had met his flesh. Given the circumstances, however, he had most likely been stabbed in the back. Whoever had killed Lotus had now done the same to Junpei as well. His voice was little more than a weak groan. With what little strength he had left, Junpei turned his body, trying to catch a glimpse of his attacker. But as he did, the knife dug itself in deeper, twisting viciously. He collapsed to the floor, a puppet with its strings cut. His arms and legs lay where they fell, oddly twisted and awkwardly positioned. Junpei's body was entirely numb. He could feel the blood leaking out of him, but nothing would move. Nothing save his eyes. As he lay on the floor, his life ebbing away, Junpei finally saw his attacker. 2 tiny images of the killer reflected in his eyes. With that recognition came nothing. He felt no emotions. Not anger, not sadness, not regret. The paralysis that had claimed his body had reached his mind. His killer glanced down at his body. Then, without a word, climbed into the elevator and was gone. His eyesight began to fade. The world grew blurry and began to dissolve into an empty white fog. The fog crept into the edges of his mind and worked inexorably inward. Soon, it swallowed up the last that remained of Junpei's mind, and his consciousness left him. There was nothing more. Into utter emptiness he fell. Into zero. Whatever Junpei had been was gone.
Yeah!
Bad end!
Bad end! Would you like to know the name of that ending?
Well, I just got a
spoilery.
Steam achievement that just calls it the knife ending.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's it.
That's the name
Nice
of it.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You have reached one ending. This game has multiple endings. In order to experience all the endings, you need to play through the game multiple times. Make sure to save your progress now to retain all information you've acquired. Memory of Escape has been added to the title screen. Memory of Escape enables you to replay the escape rooms you have completed. Okay.
You know, for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, well.
You
we
did it! Congratulations, you got
You solved
murdered.
the knife puzzle.
I got. Oh my. Okay.
Yep. So there it is.
Nice.
So that
Okay.
is the flowchart.
Yeah, and you have done a decent amount already.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done like most of it, usually, kind of.
Yeah.
Like most of the escape rooms, I think.
Yeah.
More than half.
Except for ones that, except for
Yeah.
ones that lead on completely different paths.
Yeah.
Except for those 3
Yep.
and those.
Alright, well. I
That
need to go to
is
bed.
definitely a good place to call it for now.
Yep.
Also, I have decided I am definitely chopping these videos up into smaller videos because we have gone for almost 5 hours this time. And do you want to know how long the other video took to process? Over 24 hours.
Oh my god.
And that was just trying to smush it all into one track. I haven't done the proper editing yet.
Oh no. Oh no.
So yeah, these are definitely getting chopped up into like probably hour to 2 hour long sections.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoopsie.
Hee.
Tee whoopsie. Getting a little lost in the sauce here.
Scooby one always gets me.
But yeah, I'm gonna stop recording now, so I'll see you all next time.